We have rogue websites, Mr. President, that are primarily based overseas. They're stealing American property. They're harming American consumers. They're hurting the American economic recovery. And they're costing American jobs. You know, stealing and counterfeiting are wrong, and they're harmful. And it's happening every day right under our noses. And we lose jobs, and we Americans lose money as a result. Now, I admire and I respect the marvelous advances of technology, particularly those represented by the internet. I'm on the internet early in the morning and probably again late at night as I catch up with messages, the latest news, and so forth. I promoted its impact around the world, especially in countries where it was the only way the people of that country could have a free voice. I have fought from the time the internet was invented to keep it free and open, so it's become the incredible force it is today. I promoted its potential for access in rural areas, for distance learning, for increasing points of view, for allowing all voices to be heard, as a means for small startups and firms in Vermont and elsewhere to market quality products. Now, this is not a newfound interest or passing fancy. I started and chaired a Judiciary Committee panel 2 decades ago on technology and the law as the founder of the bipartisan, bicameral Congressional Internet Caucus. Now, yesterday, the Washington Post got it right in its editorial entitled Freedom on the Internet. It said a free and viable internet is essential to nurturing and sustaining the kinds of revolutionary innovations that have touched on every aspect of modern life. But freedom and lawlessness are not synonymous. The Constitution does not protect the right to steal, and that's true whether in a bricks and mortar store or online. And last week, a Wall Street Journal editorial spoke in a similar fashion. Now, 2 years ago, I introduced a bipartisan effort to target the worst of the foreign rogue websites that profited from piracy and stealing and counterfeiting, while also ensuring that we protect the internet. And I've been working since that time to do just that. In 2010, the bipartisan bill I introduced was reported unanimously by the Senate Judiciary Committee. I took views of all concerned. I reached out to the administration. We incorporated revised definitions suggested by other senators like Senator Wyden. We held additional hearings to which we invited Google and Yahoo. We redrafted the legislative measure. We reintroduced it as the Preventing Real Online Threats to Economic Creativity and Theft of Intellectual Property Act, the Protect IP Act. Senator Grassley joined me as original co-sponsor. I continue to work with Republicans and Democrats who showed interest. Measure was reported unanimously from the Judiciary Committee. In May of 2011, 40 senators from both Democrats and Republicans across political spectrum co-sponsored. This is an issue that unites the United States Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO, the National Association of Manufacturers, and the Teamsters, the cable industry and the broadcast industry. Now, these are all groups that are usually taking different positions on different things. They're united on this. By targeting the worst of the worst and protecting the integrity of the internet, we get a broad coalition of support for the Protect IP Act. And law enforcement groups, of course, more than 400 companies, associations, unions have come together to support it. Now, last year, forming similar coalitions, we were able to reform our patent laws to unleash American innovation and also to boost our economy. We have to look for the same threat here, because there's a serious threat to our economic recovery posed by internet piracy. I regret that so much misinformation has stopped it. I thank Majority Leader Reid for trying to schedule a debate on this serious economic threat. And I understand that when the Republican leader recently objected, and a number of senators who had co-sponsored and long supported the effort jumped ship, he was faced with a difficult decision. And I understand as leader, he did what he had to do. But I hope after a delay, we can come back together and work on this. I've talked to people who have been strong supporters, like the distinguished senator from Arizona, Senator Kyle. I certainly continue to work with him. He's been an absolute leader in this area, and I applaud the work he's done. This is an act that's been years in the making. It's been waiting Senate action since last May. Now today, the rogue foreign websites that are based in Russia, they're stealing Americans' property, are delighted to continue the operation. Counterfeiting sweatshops in China are the beneficiaries of this delay. Some of the sweatshops that are employing children, basically in slave labor, they turn out these counterfeit products that are on the websites. They've got to be happy we've lost a tool to go after them. And having listened to some of the misinformation I've seen recently on the same internet I'm trying to protect, I would point out that our bill would only affect websites that have been judged by a federal court to have no significant use other than engaging in theft, whether through stolen content or they're selling a counterfeit. It's narrowly targeted, the worst of the worst. Websites that have some infringing content in their sites but have uses other than profiting from infringement are not covered by the legislation. I saw one website, Wikipedia, say they've got to go dark. They censored themselves to protest what they called censorship. Our law never would have touched a website like Wikipedia. But what it does do is go after organized crime in Russia and China and elsewhere. I worry about the flash of interest that surrounded this bill last week. Those who were forgotten were the millions of individual artists, creators, companies in Vermont and every other state who work hard every day only to find their works available online for free without their consent. Those who lost are the factory workers whose wages are cut or jobs are lost. When low quality counterfeit goods are sold in place of the real thing they work so diligently to produce. There are men and women of our National Guard and military who put their lives on the line for all of us every day. But yet if they acquired a counterfeit part, it can literally be a matter of life or death. Or seniors who are struggling to pay for their medications. See one of these websites where they can find them for a little bit less. But the medication is going to protect them from a heart attack. Instead, they have a counterfeit. An organized crime group is making money, but they're the ones who die. So at the end of the day, the debate boils down to a simple question. Should Americans and American companies profit from what they produce and be able to provide American jobs, or do we want to continue to let thieves operating overseas steal that property and then sell it to unsuspecting American consumers. And I would hope that in the coming days the Senate will be able to focus on stopping theft that's undercutting our economic recovery. I remain committed to confronting that problem